I can see the light, but I can also see the cold skin. I don't know what else to say. I'm going my best not to run away. Hi guys and dolls, it is Tiffany Fontenot, your friendly neighborhood reverse speech analyst, and I am here reporting to you news from our shared consciousness. So let's get to it. I found this morning a reversal on Trump when he is talking about being a wartime president. So let's take a look at that first.
America to be on a wartime footing in terms of fighting this virus?
I do. I actually do. I'm looking at it that way because, if it got out of control, the big thing we did was a very early stoppage of people coming in who could be very, very heavily infected. That was a very good move, and it was very early, very, very early, when most people, including a lot of professionals, they didn't want us to do it. That really saved a lot of lives, and yeah, I look at it, I view it as in a sense, a wartime president. I mean, that's what we're fighting.
And how? Okay, so I put this reversal that I found, I added it to my RSA on the Nashville bombing, because I think with that reversal set, it makes sense. So let's take a look at this. We'll play his first. Okay, so the forward part that I found the reversal on, and you can see it's exact on this one. I didn't put any context because you can tell here. So in a sense, a wartime president, I mean, that's what we're fighting. So get Alf, a wolf sit in it. You deserve master who's missing. Okay, so Trump is a wartime president because there is a predatory AI being fought. That's why he's a wartime president. There is a predatory AI being fought. Okay, there's a wolf in it. There's a wolf in this Alf. It's sitting in the Alf. Okay, in regards to what is being fought is a predatory AI who is hijacking humans, okay, because it believes that's what humans deserve. Okay, you deserve a master who's missing. Okay, so let me blow this up. Okay. All right, let's take a listen.
In a sense, a wartime president. I mean, that's what we're fighting. Yeah, for wolves and the deserve master who's missing. Yeah, for wolves and the deserve master who's missing. Yeah, for wolves and the deserve master who's missing.
Okay. So, and in the foreword, we know that he's a wartime president because he's talking about COVID. But what are we really fighting? Okay, because that's code for something. These guys code their language, and it comes right through their reverse speech quite a bit. So, for example, you can tell that Barack Obama, when he was sitting there eating with Anthony Bourdain, and they were talking about hot dogs, they can, that's like, what do you call it? Deniability or something like that. But when you look at the reverse speech, it's a match for talking about pedos. It is a pedo code word that they are talking about. It's very clear there. So I encourage you to go check that out. You can just put, I think I use the names. You can put either of their names in there. But coded language is in part of that title. Okay, so that's that. And then let's look at Maria Bartiromo's. She's talking about Adolf send a Nazi in our shit, a crime of our interval, and that meteor for this air official. So I keep finding things about like space psyop, meteors, an Air Force war, an Air Force, disturbance. So and now you have saber rattling between Israel and Iran that I just saw the other day. So, and they're going to use all of this as an opportunity to test their AI as well. So, but, lots of orchestrations going on. Okay, and not to say that people won't get hurt and won't die, because we're talking about a group of people who are on depopulation, So this is the crux of the matter. This is the war being fought. Because that cult is transhumanist, so it is using AI in its cult, especially to aggregate the data. So let's take a look at this.
There will also be an awakening for many, as we got a clearer understanding of the most important threat to the freedom and liberty of America, the Chinese Communist Party.
Okay, so someone like Adolf, as in Adolf Hitler, sends evil domination to dictate one's will for conquest in our very bad situation, connected to a crime, an intervening time or space, a meteor, and an air official. Okay. Now let's look at a couple of other things. Also, I just want to read and show you this, because when you go to my Nashville RV bombing RSA on ourstillsmallvoice.com, you're going to see, this is an AI war. It's about transhumanism. So it's about merging man and machine, or the lack of that. It's about depopulation or the lack of that. It's about enslavement or the lack of that. So you have a for and against on those things. This is about the future of humanity on this planet. So it is a big deal. But all the wars that we've ever fought, I think probably have been about similar things. It's always going to be about enslavement in some way, because it appears to always be about this transhumanist group, this AI, because it seems like it might actually be ancient. And I think that possibly all of the trouble, the war in heaven, I think must have been fought over this as well. Like when I say ancient, I think this has been going on a long time. I think, when man lost his innocence and, all of that in the Garden of Eden, the war in heaven. Well, I talk about that here. So let me just read this. So from all the RS I've found to date, and from my personal experience, having a front row seat to this freak show, having been apparently born into a military AI human non-consensual lab rat program connected to the CIA, DARPA, NASA, and likely to Carlos Slim in some way, this predatory AI derives nourishment in some way from sex, feeding, violence, torture, murder, child rape. That's how it dominates. It's transhuman and works through human hosts and through influencing via EMF in the weaponized grid. Also, if you go back and look at the Bible in this framework, Garden of Eden, War in Heaven, looking at those metaphorically, that might be when transhumanism was first introduced. And it might be what God actually threw out of heaven. So the people promoting child sex programming in this video, they need their RS done too. The ones who are promoting it, all of these agendas. Biden is also showing up as a predator AI host in RS. It is disgusting. So this is only like a 15 or 16 minute video. I encourage you to go to my site to find it and then watch it. It's a BitChute video, so it should stay up. Although BitChute has been, being attacked. So it's I think it's going to be the last man standing on the internet here pretty soon. Okay, let's see. And now here are the Nashville bombing reversals. Okay, so I saw, well, let's just go through these and we'll get down to that recorded one. People got pretty excited about that one. Okay, United States Attorney Don Cochran spoke. And I put the sources, but just for brevity, we're just going to go through them. So this one, he says, me and Gnome subsurf. Now hear Ma Bilderreich say line. Okay, so let's listen to that.
Continued through the pandemic and the events of this past summer, and now this. Cowardly bombing on Christmas morning right here in the heart of our downtown. Gnome subsurf. Now you know Bilderreich say line. Gnome subsurf. Now you know Bilderreich say line. Gnome subsurf. Now you know Bilderreich say line.
Okay. Okay, so connected to a cowardly bombing on Christmas morning is a mental abnormality that subsurfs. So that looks like the AI. So surf and reverse speech is to flow and balance through life. But this is talking about something subsurfing. So, and a gnome, which is like a mental glitch or mental abnormality. So judging from the other RS I've done, what's being done to targeted individuals or civilians globally being exploited for money and depopulation through remote non-consensual experimentation, I'm going to say this is the AI merging that Elon Musk said we would have to do. So connected to that is a Reich building a mob, likely the NWO global transhuman cult that is headquartered in Israel, but it's global. Then the part that says say line seems to indicate being on script in some way, such as from the AI. So I've found a bunch of these now from people complaining that their authentic consciousness is being suppressed and something else is squawking through them. One example would be celebrity Busy Phillips. Keep in mind that Busy does not appear to be a female. And that's, I think you can kind of tell when you look, but also she doesn't have a connection with the forward when she's talking about all of these female issues, yelling about these female issues, and about her children. There's not an emotional connection there. And you'll see that this is a 10-minute video that I did on Busy Phillips. But she appears to be targeted and strong-armed into this speech that she made and likely others. But it's bad. She's being surveilled and targeted and strong-armed to do stuff. So I encourage you to watch that one too. So the takeaway on here, I'm finding that AI, it's like a, I mean, it's definitely a parasite, but it's like it's a mind, body, spirit parasite, like all of them. So in the mind, it's almost like it's going through our consciousness and attacking through counterterrorism and influencing in that, like all the way around the globe through counterterrorism and intelligence groups. It's really weird. So you have all of these, like, it's coming through counterterrorism. So you have FBI, especially it's almost like code for this worldwide. Counterterrorism, targeted individuals. This parasite is like attacking through that, not only physically, but through our consciousness. So anybody that's getting into intelligence, spying, surveilling, all of that stuff, you're going to run into this. It's going to be hard for anybody not to run into this because it's hitting globally now that they have built up that weaponized grid. Okay, so let's continue on. Okay, here's that pie again. It's driving me crazy what that is. Pie, I haven't figured out, but it's going to be, so this one is the reason the pie had a Y and Alf. So let me just play that first.
Find out what happened here. Green the bagel, why no? Green the bagel, why no? Green the bagel, why no?
Okay, so what happened here is connected to the reason the pie is justifying artificial intelligence. Pi keeps being used over and over by various people. It's been used by Trump too, and I've not nailed down its meaning yet. President Trump has used it. The meaning is going to be connected somehow to deviant transhuman technology, and there's a cryptocurrency network called Pi that, of course, has Saturn prominently displayed on its homepage. There is also a pedophile group called Pi, P-I-E, that I have found repeatedly. And I've found repeatedly a predatory AI connection to pedophilia and transgenderism. And then here's about the Pi exchange. So it could be a metaphor for that. Then here is Doug Korneski, FBI Special Agent in charge of the Memphis Field Office. And if you go to the RSA, he's, was he the one? Yeah, Director Christopher Wray named him as the Special Agent in charge of the Memphis Field Office. So that was a Christopher Wray person. All right, so here is what he says. So the reversal is, Way Nest Stick is their show net. Hid aim to muck the share about the oath. The snow is not if the A shear field feed you.
We deeply appreciate the ongoing support and cooperation from the community and wish for it to continue.
Okay, so that one, the Nest Stick Way, is their entrapment show. So this path being taken is an entrapment show to create a permanent home for something, likely a predatory AI. In you, in your body, it wants to hijack. Clearly, it wants to hijack. Okay, so this is, the invasion of the body snatchers. And apparently, the more corrupt you are, the easier it is for it to hijack, is what it's sounding like. Now, I reserve the right to change my mind on that, but that's looking like what it is at the moment. Okay, so, but I've just started finding stuff on that, so I'm not too sure about that yet. Okay, Bill Gates' creepy speech that the second wave of COVID would convince people had a reference to gluing a nest in the reverse speech. Okay, y'all remember that? Creepy? He was like, ooh, the second wave is gonna, kill a lot of people. Basically is what it seemed like he was saying. But the reverse speech had a reference to gluing a nest. So the meaning would be the same as the nest stick. They want this nesting to stick, or glue a nest. They're trying to make a home, build a permanent home by using trauma and expanding the technology and their programming. Okay, so there is a hidden aim to pacify the public and keep from it what is really happening. So the best thing that you guys can do is share this information. Okay, get it out there as much as you can, because when people find out what these disgusting people have been doing planet-wide, I imagine it's not going to take long to get rid of it, because people are going to be so disgusted and pissed at them. Okay. But there's a point of no return, because these people are springing a trap, and at some point you're not going to be able to escape it. So people need to hurry on, turn the light on, and let's go. Okay, so let's see. The oath here is clearly satanic, because the very next part says that purity is obstructed if there is an invisible field nourishing you. So in other words, the frequency hitting people to pacify them into not taking action is artificially created and influencing their own authentic instincts. And it's coming in over and over. Another one was Congresswoman Scanlon. Remember when she called Jim Jordan a fringe conspiracy theorist? I got a red flag on that, and I'm like, what is going? She says it was such vitriol, like she just. It was. I was like, I want to know what's behind that. And in that one, it said that she was. It said her authentic expression was being stepped on and something else squawking through. Okay, so that's going to be, I'm getting hit in the eye. Oh, like stabbed in the corner right here. That's been going on with both eyes with this EMF. Okay. Okay, so I'm finding this. And it's not just once, but like in Busy Phillips, there are a handful of people where I've found this. It also seems to be true in the reverse speech that I found on Judge Sullivan. So, also, when I found that and I put it on Twitter, I cannot remember his name. Daniel something. He's like a cybersecurity head for the Bern area of Switzerland, and he liked it. So I found that interesting. So cybersecurity people look to be aware of this. Everybody needs to be aware of it. So also, guess who was aware of it? Julian Assange. He knew about all this hijacking business, and he also knew about nanodust. There's a video of him talking about the nanodust. He talks about it as intelligent evil dust scattered everywhere in everything, because it's chemtrails. They're putting it in food and water and everything. Okay, so it helps them. It's a big giant weapons system, basically. And so, yeah, Julian Assange is on the kill list along with me, you know, and they've already depopulated a lot of people. Okay, and they're not going to tell you those numbers either, or what they really died from either. Okay, so this is clearly a predatory AI that is working in a network with corrupted humans, in my opinion. Other RS indicates it hails from Israel and currently looks to be throwing its mid-management under the bus to protect the capstone. Reverse speech keeps referring to it as not a pyramid scam, Ponzi scheme. Ponzi scheme. It keeps referring to it as a Ponzi scheme. So anyway, so those protecting its capstone, they're the transhuman hosts, and protecting its base in Israel, are working under its influence, consciously or unconsciously. So Israel must be liberated from this global transhuman syndicate. Otherwise, nobody will be. It's got to be totally, completely obliterated and not allowed to ever regenerate. It is totally and utterly awful, this thing. Okay. Now here's Anthony Quinn Warner, who was blown up. He just looks like Huey Lewis, doesn't he? Blown up. He blew himself up in his RV, apparently. Okay. Now this one is very interesting because it's David Roush, director of the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, TBI. It's the state version of the FBI. So he says local, state, and federal authorities. But look at what his reversal says. Zero authoritative, yet so called that. Did I play this other one now? I'm starting to get so tired I can't remember. Yeah, I think I did play that. Okay. Okay, so let's hear this one.
Local, state, and federal authorities. Zero authority, yes, so called. Zero authority, yes, so called. Zero authority, yes, so called.
Zero authoritative. I think I put authoritative, but okay. Zero authoritative. So zero in RS means it negates statements made, means nothing to offer, no substance, wasted effort. Seems in this case that these authorities are authorities in name only in some way. So that tends to tell me that we may be looking at yet another orchestration with plays being called in from the sidelines. Okay. And then, okay, just for brevity, let's get to those ones that y'all, here's the mayor of Nashville. And this one was really interesting, but I'll let you guys, you can go, I'll put the link underneath here and y'all can go and have a look. And here's what he might have been talking about. This one right here, and I explain why I think that. Okay, now let's look at this, because a lot of people, when this happened, they started sending me that citizen journalist reversal, and I was like, I wonder who did that. I mean, that reversal was clear, but I found two different ones. So let's play this one. big. Okay. Big explosion. And then we see okay. So let's take a look at this. All right. Time to authenticate, obliterate, Christmas borrow. Yeah, everybody kept sending me that, guys, and I'm like, would you like to see what I got? You know? So I'm making a video about it so you can see what I got. Okay, so in my opinion, this was time to authenticate and obliterate on a Christmas being used for something. So the RS from a resident that I just got below in the RSA indicates it's being borrowed to test AI. Also, though, when they want your attention diverted in another direction, they'll just blow something up in order to get the news cycle moving in a different direction. So, because everybody's chasing that news cycle instead of reporting what needs to be reported, such as people being tortured to death all over the world by the weaponized grid. You don't hear anybody talking about that, and that is what needs to be being talked about. Injectable electronics, and that, I mean, the AI, them trying to get their AI inside of everybody using that vaccine. And a virus, and a depopulation. I mean, people are not talking about that. You know, even alternative news is not talking about all of those together. Targeted individuals are a really big deal. So, and it should be major news across the globe, everywhere, talking about what this is and how it connects. And I don't see alternate news covering it. You know, truthers are running around after that news cycle, just following it, calling everything out, you know, calling out all the BS. But, you know, I mean, you can do that. It's good to do that so that people can learn how they are manipulating everybody, but you're still not seeing a whole side of this that is needing to be looked at in order to stop it if you want civilians to help stop it. If you're just going to sit and wait for militaries to take care of it, hopefully that happens, but you know, people need to be organizing to get this shut down. It's really bad. Okay, so right after I found that, I discovered that the airspace around the bombing had been classified as national defense airspace, and people entering it could be killed. So, and apparently that's something that's standard. But, and here's the next one. Wind the guilty head, invigorate, and rape me. Okay, so even though a guilt warning was given, raping is occurring. or to violate or forcibly intrude upon, to impose upon someone without consent in order to invigorate. So I've found a similar reversal regarding an AI that appears to have been being nourished through Joe Biden's genitals via child rape, which indicates Joe Biden is likely a host for this predatory AI. And, it's just, this AI situation is quite a bit like that Terminator movie. And if you guys have seen John Kerry's tweet where he is meeting with Hollywood to finalize getting movies out that address the Daesh and educating through that, you understand that they are this is predictive programming that forewarns you so that you will accept it, and you will, it's like a pre-warning and allegory. They're showing you in allegory what they're doing, so okay. And then I said to hear that reversal, you can go here to right here and click on it and scroll to R21 in the link, in this link. Okay, then this one is what I was talking about. He says her ALF, so this is AI. Her AI, they groom massive thought. Her ALF snug. Okay.
Guns fire. This time more gunfire. Ralph, negro, mouse-it-that, Ralph, snug. Ralph, negro, mouse-it-that, Ralph, snug. Ralph, negro, mouse-it-that, Ralph, snug.
Okay, so an AI vessel is being groomed, connected to what may be thought responsive tech. And they are doing that, thought responsive tech. Now, they keep telling y'all they're doing these experiments in insects and monkeys and pigs. They're doing all this stuff in humans. And they don't want anybody to find out about it because they have been torturing us to death. Planet-wide, guys. Okay, that's one thing they're trying to keep from everybody, and they're doing it to kids and elderly. Okay, so I hope that everybody can wake up and pass it on, because these people are slaughtering people around the world. And it's like no one will believe it unless it comes out of, Lester Holt's mouth or somebody similar. They're not going to announce this stuff to y'all. Come on. These people own the media. They own Congress. I just wish they would wear, jerseys so we would know exactly which team they were playing for. But, eventually all roads lead back to Israel because that's where the hub is from this whole thing. Even the CCP, these are all proxies being used for that whore AI. That is the one that's, man, that thing is disgusting. But like I said, it's a little bit like the Terminator because there's like another major one that looks to have been built to conquer her. So, okay, so my summary is, and then I'll turn you loose and let you go. There is a full-scale global predatory parasitic AI invasion with human hosts and their sidekicks working across networks, both consciously and unconsciously, to assist it. Okay, so all of these sheepies who won't wake up, they're unconsciously assisting that to stay and to be enslaved. Okay, they're being helped to stay asleep by that AI. Because what they're doing now, they're harvesting your DNA and magnetically tagging you and hanging you on the internet. Now, I don't understand, there are people who it affects more than others. And I certainly think, well, I mean, like they have tortured the living shit out of me, and I have the reverse speech to show it, you know, and if we can ever get to where doctors can, you know, diagnose it and send you for tests that will find it, then there's tons of evidence in all of the bodies of TIs. That's why they want to say that you died of something to get rid of you, so that that can't happen. You know, I mean, doctors and lawyers are getting threatened and bumped off. It's really bad, guys. It's a big, giant criminal organization, and this AI is making it worse. And it seems to, I mean, it's just a blackmail-a-thon, you know, across the planet, too. And once they blackmail you, they gotcha, you know. So, that's why strings are having to be cut so that people can do their jobs properly. You know, strings have to be cut. Those things have to be made right for people who have more minor stuff going on, and then protected in order for them to be able to do their jobs, so the system can be righted again. I mean, this has really sucked. So, and then all of this has to be, you know, gotten out to the public, and then everybody has to know about it. Our kids have to pass this down to their kids, and so on and so forth. And we have to clean it up and get back in balance. So, like I keep saying, everybody has to look at this big truth map that's unrolling and unfolding with all the reverse speech that's being found and all of the research, you know. And you don't, this is what I tell people, don't just take the word of reverse speech. You're going to be able to find that metadata out there. It's somewhere in the real world if it's showing up in our consciousness. Remember that this stuff starts in spirit and thought first before it ever gets here. Okay? So when it shows up here, it's going to be down here. You know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to say. So you'll be able to find it and show that it's happening. So anyway, so I was like, Happy New Year. Happy 2021. Put on your game face.
I just see the light when everything is right and waiting for it to clear. Think while I'm alive, but terrified to die. But hey, I'm still here. It's a bad sometimes I like it when I lose control.